Wow! Disappointed!
And why are you disappointed, Dr. Dynamite? Do you care to explain yourself? The people demand an explanation. We shall be starting very, very shortly. I promise. Sorry, I wasn't listening. What? The people demand an explanation of why you're disappointed. Hello, Jay Walter. Also, huge shout out to Dr. Dynamite. The doctor is in the house. Last streaming bit of Risk of Rail fails. Risk of Rail? You mean Risk of Rain? Or were you doing Ruby on Rails? That's a funny one. I'm sorting out some last minute stuff because I have upgraded my setup and there are some things that I didn't realize were not working correctly. And therefore, I need a moment. But I shall be with you momentarily. Ignore that I was testing. I see, Dr. Dynamite. Very well, very well. I think we'll get started now. Gah, so nosy. Nosy, nosy. Welcome to a new week, a new stream, new problems. How has everyone's Monday been so far? Good evening, morning, afternoon, might even be Tuesday for you. I don't know what time zone you're in, but that's cool. Thank you to all the followers, especially Balloon Toaster. Just saw that one come in a few minutes ago. Thank you for the follow. We are almost at 200 followers. It's quite cool. I don't know how we got there, to be honest. The fact that 181 people have clicked this button to see content from me still blows my mind. So, yeah. What did I mean by setup change? I went from a 34-inch widescreen to a 43-inch ultra-wide. And what I did not factor into that is that, of course, a new screen means the computer forgets everything it knew about whatever screen you had before. It's a completely new monitor identity, so I had to go in and make some adjustments. Second, I was trying to install things prior to stream, which we all know, of course we should do that, right? Everyone knows that you install stuff immediately before stream. Sudden summer weather in Sweden. Yesterday was pants and jacket, today is shorts and t-shirt. Are you sure you're not in Switzerland? Because those two countries are the same, right? Jay Walt. We had a similar phenomenon with the weather. We had an absolute blasting day yesterday. It was 28 and a half degrees Celsius. It was quite nice. I went motorbiking, had a good time. It was very nice. Yes, so it's pretty slapping beats today. What are we doing? We are picking up where we left off last week by looking into BI notebooks. As my girlfriend read out, what's a BI notebook? And I said it's a notebook that goes SQL or R. And she didn't get the joke and I cried. But I'm hoping some of you get the joke, because it would make me very happy. Yeah, so BI notebooks, business intelligence. Essentially, they should be the holy grail for us data analysts and data people, right? Because we demand all types of features. Actually, we'd like to have like everything in one package. So we want to have somewhere where we can run code, like SQL or R or Python. And we want to have also a place where we can document things. We want to have a place where we can explain things and visualize stuff. And then we want, you know, stuff like versioning, all these kinds of cool features that we're used to. And yeah, I think BI notebooks is the holy grail, right? There's a problem with that. There's a few different solutions. And me being an absolute noob, shout out to that noob if you're there already. I don't know if you're here. Me being an absolute noob, I'm not sure which solution or which tool is the best for me. Oh, nice. White Panther is here with the salty bits. Pew, 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 pew. Our fearless leader of the Claw. If you don't know what the Claw is, then you are missing out, because it is the most epic Discord community that you should join if you are looking to just have a chat with people from this sort of dev/data community. A very, very helpful community. I am here largely due to this community. Really, it has to be said. So, looks like we have a party going. We can bring this party to the next level, which is we have been working out the BI notebook of the future. And this sounds very futuristic. Oh, that is so bright. I wish Google Docs had dark mode. Rap Panther, brah! It's not just due to you, Dr. Dynamite. Also, I don't rap. Only Panther raps. So we should start. Let's start. That was pretty lame. We have to do this again. That's much better. There's a dark mode plugin I use for Google Docs if you're using Chromium. Oh. Yeah. I would like to reveal to you all the things that I've been doing. Okay. What have I been doing? Because I had this debate last time with a few people on stream. Essentially, there's a problem. There's a problem with Twitch. And that is that so many developers on Twitch, so many streamers, like technical streamers, not gamers, they insist on preparing everything beforehand so that when they stream, everything is supposed to work and no one sees the work that goes in the background. And I don't think I really agree with that, because I want people to see how much effort goes into preparing the things that we want to show that we're doing on stream, because this is part of our job. But it's quite difficult to... Sorry, I just cleared recycle bin and I realized that might have been very loud for you. So rip headphones. And so I don't agree with that. And so last time, like in the beginning, for example, when I had to get like a data set to do some analysis, which we've, I do that a lot. Recipe, 800,000 recipes or whatever. I would download the data set, I would clean it up, I would put it into Postgres, and then I would like not show that part on stream. Sorry, Jay Walter, rip ears. And I think that's wrong. Oh, that's good. It wasn't that bad. I think that's wrong because I feel like people on Twitch should see. They should see what work goes into doing those things beforehand. And so I started not doing those things on beforehand. Like I would go to Kaggle on stream and download a data set and then show how to import it and then clean it up. And we would spend like 2 hours cleaning data on stream, which is maybe not the most exciting thing, but it is the reality. And I think that's important, is to not to distort reality. And there are a lot of devs, to be fair, there are a lot of devs that show everything and they make mistakes and they show how things don't work. And I think that's great because I'm here for a learning experience. I think most of you are here to learn as well. And it's primarily for me, right? I mean, it's not, I like to look into these things, so I might as well do it on stream, basically. And so last time, I deliberately didn't do anything beforehand, which in hindsight was a bit of a mistake. Or maybe not a mistake, but we wasted a lot of time on stream. Why? We spent so much time waiting for Jupyter notebooks. Or no, we didn't actually wait for Jupyter. We were waiting for Brew. So I'm using Homebrew on Mac to manage packages and installations. And honestly, it was pretty bad. Brew had to update like all of its dependencies. It wasn't something that I do regularly, okay? I'm like a standard non-dev user, okay, of Mac. I have these solutions because they are the best solution. That's how you should be doing it. But I'm not like running Brew update every week or something like that. And that's the reality of the situation, is that that's exactly what happened. Is Brew needed so much time to update that it became inhibitive to do this on stream. And I wouldn't say like we didn't cancel the stream because of that, but it was definitely bad. Like it was definitely not entertaining to just watch things update on stream. And it's not something I would want anybody to have to do, is watch someone for 2 hours as their Brew packages update. If I want to go watch a stream that's like that, then I'll go on a 24/7 chicken stream, right? I mean, honestly. So, so my point is that this time I did some prep work, but I only did the necessary level of prep that you would also have to do if you wanted to install it on your system, let's say Mac or Windows, doesn't really matter. And I tried not to go too far. Like I tried not to install kind of all the semantics and everything, because today is really about comparing all of these BI notebook solutions. So what are we doing today? Specifically today, I would like to look at 4, not 1, like last time, not 2, not 3, 4 different BI notebook solutions. But in order to figure out what the BI notebook of 2049 should look like, we also have to consider the definition of what is a BI notebook. Okay? And for me, this is what we wrote down last time. A BI notebook has the following vision, mission, vision, something. Okay? I would call it allows anyone working with data to easily communicate results of analysis work. That would be my definition. I just wrote this down now. That would be my vision. Okay? Now, I've been working in data for 10 years and I have not had the chance to really use BI notebooks, which says a lot actually about the way that our data stacks are constructed today. And I will do, at one point, I think I will do a more presentation format thing on Twitch, because I have something prepared around that topic. Balloon toaster, I love that definition. Wonderful. So one other person than me thinks it's a pretty okay definition. I think we could probably make it better, but it's already great. So thanks for that. Thanks for the feedback. So that's the mission. So what does it need to have in order to fulfill that mission? Well, it needs to be easy install, because we're not talking about developers. We're talking about anybody working with data, whether it's a data analyst or a data scientist or whatever. The prerequisite for it being technical is a silly one, in my opinion. We're in 2021. We can do a lot of amazing things with technology. One of them is not give people a hard time. Let's be honest. And that is what happened last time. Jupyter Lab was a huge hassle to install. And I don't think, to be honest, I don't think that it is particularly easy. Come on. I don't think it is a particularly easy solution. And yet Jupyter notebooks are so popular among data scientists, and there's probably some reasons for that, but I don't know what they are. Okay. I know that they encompass a lot of these different features. Okay, so Jupyter, for example, does not fulfill this. What could be cool? So this was kind of an example of what I thought of what a BI notebook should look like. So I have like a question, I have some explanations, I have some code, and I have the visual that is executed from the code directly. I don't need to worry about whether that person has access to the data or not, if I'm giving them permissions to it. That was one of the things we talked about. If I give that person permission to view the notebook, then they should be able to see the data underlying. Like, completely logical. Why else would I send a person the link to that notebook? It's like sending someone a link to a presentation in Google Slides, and then them not seeing images in the slides would just be super stupid, honestly. But if we were to make a little, I don't know, we could probably do a sort of ranking thing. Okay, I'm gonna separate this from what is it? Command IB or something? No, it's not that one. I just want to make a page break. Command enter. Okay, so this is like my example one, which is, it's just an example. We will make one today. I hope that we will use one with the real data that I have in Postgres. Let's assume that some of the notebooks actually work really well, and we can get that far. So let's do a ranking. Okay, these are our 5 features, which means we can transport them into a table. We have 5 features and we have 4 tools. All right, so we have, let's just do this. Let's just name them like this. These are A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so I don't have to write them out again. And we're gonna do some kind of arbitrary weighting ranking thing. I haven't decided yet, but we'll do feature / tool. Okay, so we'll have Jupyter Labs, because that's the one that we tested. Obviously you can just use a straight up Jupyter notebook, but the lab is like the entire thing with the directory and stuff like that. Jupyter Labs. We can also make this row bold. Might as well make it a nice table, right? If we're here, can we highlight stuff? Oh, I don't want to. Come on. Gray. Nope, that's the wrong one. Where is the table background? Is that not here? Oh, it's here. Okay. So, Jupyter Labs, R Markdown. I will get to each one that we're doing today. If you have questions, by the way, if anyone wants to know anything, just Just write in chat, that's what we're here for. We're all here to learn from each other. And then we will be looking at observable HQ and count.co. I don't write just count because it's a bit confusing if you don't know the solution. It's a relatively new player on the block. New kid. So, let's format this too. So this one. So we're gonna do, how should we rank? What would chat like to see in terms of ranking? What kind of scale would we want? Should we do like GPA, 1 to 10? We already used ABC, we already used letters for the features, so I wouldn't use letters. Maybe we'll use the Swiss scale. Drill Sergeant Hartman, hi Maddie, nice to see you. Peter. Oh, Peter! How nice of you to join. You get all kinds of fun people joining Twitch streams. That's a great username, by the way, Peter. Drill Sergeant Hartman. So we'll do a 1 to 6 where 1 is fail and 6 is excellent. And this is like the Swiss system. I know that the German one is the best. So, you know, that's how we're gonna do it. So, Jupyter Labs. Wonder if we can highlight based, I think you can you do conditional highlighting in Google Docs? I actually don't know. I know you can do it in Google Spreadsheets. Not a big deal. So, we can already rate Jupyter Labs for the install, okay? For me, it gets a 3. It's not the worst. I could definitely imagine it being a lot more difficult. But also, I'm not going to go through like all Jupyter Labs, all R Markdown, all observable, all count. I'm not going to go one by one. I'm going to kind of go across and diagonally, depending on what I need to do. I haven't figured it out yet. You know that streams are not planned, right? It's just, you know. So Jupyter Labs gets a 3 because it was hard to get this running, and it shouldn't be that hard. It should be one-liner is a bit exaggerated, but it should be easier. Okay, so it is running now. It's Python, which I'm not familiar with Python. I'm not going to fault Jupyter for being in Python, right? I'm just not familiar with Python, so I'm not able to do a lot of analysis in this. But I can, I know enough about Jupyter Notebooks now, and through my research and through how things work, that I like how it works. One thing which is not so great, so if we go back to our document here, so one thing which is a bit of an issue, so code layer that can be executed, I'll come to the issue in a second. So code layer that can be executed on the web and versioning. So I'll give this a 4. The reason I give this a 4 is because Jupyter Lab needs to be deployed somewhere. Oh, look who's here. Jordan, welcome to the showdown. Which should be exciting for you. I think you'll enjoy it. Look forward to hearing your inputs as well on R Markdown, because it'll be the first time for me using R Markdown. Yeah, I was just talking about Jupyter Labs, like the code layer that can be executed on the web. So this is kind of important because Jupyter Labs needs to be deployed into some kind of environment for people to actually use it. Otherwise, they're just running it locally, like here. And then if you want to view the notebook, you can of course just put the notebook somewhere, but it's not going to connect to any data. That's the problem. So that's why it gets a 4. It also gets a 4 because versioning is not implicit. Yes, you could technically put a Jupyter notebook in GitHub. I haven't tried that. I don't know what happens with the code. I think it just sees a new version of the file, but that's not so great. Let's be honest. Like, I would imagine versioning within the file to be a little bit better within the document. Semantic explanations. Markdown formatting, as long as I want, no restrictions, no problems there. Full marks. You can do whatever you want in here. You have full flexibility. That's where it really shines, I think. Visualizations with live updates. Yes, so you can visualize the crap out of this, but there are some downsides to this, is that the visualizations are limited to what you are able to code. And the way that I mean that is that there are auto-generating visuals. Like, there are libraries in Python that allow you to generate charts very quickly, but customizing them does require a lot of code knowledge, which I think that's a bit of a hurdle, to be honest. So for Jupyter, we can already actually get all the ratings. Sharing permissions for me gets a 3 because it's not that easy. I guess it depends on how you rank sharing, but it's not that easy to rank this, because sharing the notebook itself is super easy. You can print it as PDF, you can put it in Google Drive, people can open it, but they won't have that live connection to the data. They will have a static data set. I mean, they will have like a static piece of information. It's just a PDF at that point, basically, which I don't think is that useful. So, Jupyter, we could do some fancy math now if we want to do this at the end. Let's do it at the end. We can do like some averages and stuff like that. So, R Markdown. Jordan, you spoke about R Markdown last time, I remember, about how R Markdown is such an amazing piece of thing. So let's take a look at how it is to install R Markdown. Okay? This is the process for installing R Markdown. Let me just quit Jupyter Labs here. So we're done with this thing. Goodbye. So how do you install R? At least on Mac, you do brew install R, and then you do brew install R Studio. What does that do for you? You get the following. You get R installed on your system, so the R runtime, or whatever you want to call it. I think they call it the R, what's it called? I don't remember the name. And that installs on your system. Sociable Steve, just remember it was rigged. What was rigged, Steve? Marbles? Did you lose? Uh-oh. We're gonna have the result of marbles very soon from Luce's stream. I'm sure that they're coming over in a moment. So what do you have when it installs the R? When it installs R, Luce won the Grand Prix. Yeah, okay, that's definitely rigged. If the streamer wins, it's always rigged. And what does it do? It installs RStudio directly into your applications. Luce is rating with a party of 7. Luce, I heard it was rigged. It's rigged, isn't it, Luce? You can be honest, because I heard it was rigged. If you won, if the streamer wins, it's rigged. Marbles 2, Return of the Track. I'm glad you had fun. Big shout out to Luce for hosting Marbles on Mondays. Monday Marbles is a lot of fun. You play marbles on stream. It's very entertaining. Luce has a running commentary. The running commentary is very good, I have to say, Luce. I'm quite impressed. Someone just played Disappointed. Okay. And Ian's fart is going to show up any moment now. That's how we know that Ian's here. There we go. Marbles is absolute nonsense, but it is A lot of fun. Dex won 3 in a row. Oh, okay. 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 Very interesting. We, Nice. We are looking at, Thank you for the bits, Anonymous Cheer. It's very kind. It's very nice to have support, even if you are anonymous. I don't mind. We are looking at BI notebooks. Basically, what is a BI notebook? Mission or vision of the BI notebook is allowing anyone working with data to easily communicate the results of analysis work. We should include something. Allowing viewers to interact if necessary. Maybe. That ghost is following us. Yes. Dr. Dynamite is in chat. Yes, the ghost is following Dr. Dynamite, it seems. Steve is also here, who also gets a shout out. Steve spent an excessive amount of time coding Squishy. This guy, that guy. Squishy is a very cute little stream partner. I would love to have a stream partner. It would probably have to be like a sequel thing or something. Yeah. What was I showing? I got sidetracked. I got raid tracked. Thank you for the raid, by the way, Luz. I don't know if I said that. Much appreciated. So BI notebooks allows anyone working with data to easily communicate results. So for example, something like this, right? You'd have like some question, there would be some history behind the question, and then there would be some code, and that code would generate a visual, for example. I can also have a squishy. A squirrel? Ooh, that's a fun idea. That's a very fun idea. I'll put that in the ideas. Stream pet squirrel. Thank you, Luce. That's a fun one. Lurk, so if some ghost bits turn up, totally not me. Okay. Interesting. So let's see, labels. I'm just doing this off screen. I don't want to show you all my secrets. Steve, I'll definitely have to talk to you about getting a squishy. I mean, the mechanics would be there, and then I could just edit it to be a squirrel, I assume. Something like this. Nice. That is very nice. 26 bits. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This will be... Well, anyway, okay, so the code will generate a chart, and if you change the code, it will change the chart. That is how I imagine it to be. That's a BI notebook. Of course, it's not that simple. So we went through Jupyter Labs. Jupyter Notebook is like the staple, right? But it's been around for a long time. That means potentially there's space for innovation, right? Why not? So that's essentially what I'm kind of wondering is, what's it like with R? Jupyter is Python. R Markdown is R. What is R? R is a programming language, statistical. It's quite old. Python is older than R, as we found out. I have some previous streams where I was in the process of learning R. I'm still in the process of learning R on Data Camp. So I'm an R noob. And so I cannot tell you everything about R, and I won't be able to do many things in R. But I can tell you, you run brew install R Studio, and you get R Studio here in your applications. That's it. So then you open R Studio, and that's what you get. It's there, okay? So R Markdown, okay? How do you install R Markdown? Well, you install a package. So R uses a system called CRAN. I don't remember what it stands for. It's like Central something something something. Probably Jordan, who's a complete nerd, knows what CRAN stands for, don't you, Jordan? And basically what you do is you just install the package R Markdown. it's gone to go get that. Also installing all the dependencies. Do you want to install from sources, which needs compilation? Yes. So basically now, nobody knows what CRAN stands for. Really? Central repository and names. I don't know. What could it stand for? I mean, I would give central repository is a decent one. And see, look how easy this is, okay? Look how easy this is compared to trying to install something like Jupyter. The comprehensive archive, R archive network. Ah, okay, okay. That's an interesting definition. Interesting acronym. I suppose it makes sense, right? How are we liking the music today? Do people feel vibed? Panther win. No, we don't have a win command, but you know what? I will add it for you. How about that? Automations, chat commands, win. I don't know what it will do, but it'll do something. Thank you again to the anonymous cheer for those lovely bits. Very appreciated. So this looks like it's installed. No, it's almost done. And this is a lot easier, okay? So if you want to generate PDF output, you install LaTeX, which I don't need to do. So now our Markdown is basically installed. I think it's still doing something, that's fine. And then once it's installed, you're ready to go. That's it. Simple. So it gets good marks. It gets 5 marks. It's not perfect because you still have to actually install something. And I think max, it could get max points if it was literally 1 line. It is 1 line, but you still have to install R and RStudio. I don't know, I'm biased. I think things should be easy. And I feel like web-based has its advantages. Jordan says it's just a central repository for all publicly available R packages that reviews all packages before they can be posted to be available publicly. Yes, exactly. It's like a supermarket for R packages, right? There's some level of control that goes in. Is this done? How do I know if it's done? This is the console. I think it's still doing something. Yeah, it's still doing some things here. I just saw it. So the last one is str search call replace, locate, replace, split. So it's doing, it's adding like, what is it doing here? It is creating configs. Jibbo! Hello! Look at you with your founder badge. Very, very nice. What's happening today? We are trying all the BI notebooks. It's a showdown. It's even great because I think we even have someone from one of these 4 tools in chat with us, I believe. I did see that I got a message. 1 second here. I have the appropriate.
I think I am getting a text message. Look. Ah, there it is.
Yes. So we are greeted by a special guest. Also, my RAM is like absolutely spiking, and I don't know if the video is lagging because of that. I hope not. I could probably close some stuff. I know what I need to close. Give me 1 second. I know one thing that is hogging all the memory. and that is Docker. Because Docker loves to eat memory. Okay, so is there lag? I don't know if there is any lag. Maybe it's just local lag for me. So installation R Markdown. Sound is a bit out of sync. Yeah. Something is struggling. My computer is struggling for some reason. Probably because R is probably pumping my system full at the moment. Installing R Markdown can take a little while the first time, but it's a one-time operation. Unlike Jupyter, you don't need to worry about environments or system code packages or configs or whatever. Yeah, that is very true, Jordan. And for that reason, yeah, the lag seems to be better now. All right, so we'll let that run. Jolby83, thank you very much for the follow. Very appreciated. I hope you are enjoying the stream. If you're here for the first time, do say hello.
Nice.
Thank you for the bits, Panther. Most appreciated. We can already go to, while this is installing, because I think it's still doing it. Yeah, while it's doing that, we can move on. We can go to the next one. Observable. Observable HQ. All right. Make sense of the world with data together.
Nice.
Gibel, thank you very much for the 7 bits. Very appreciated. Look at all these kind people today. Throwing their bits around. Very, very kind. Okay, so observable. This thing should check all the boxes. Should. Okay. Get started. Continue with Google. May need to, yeah, not doxing myself again. I hope I was fast enough. I'm not sure if I was fast enough or not. Okay, so that was the sign up process. That was installing, okay? So if we go back to our chart here, okay? Honestly, this is a 6. There's no question that this was super straightforward sign up. You go, you put in your email address or you put in whatever, and that's it, you're in. Easy peasy, okay? I had created an account before this, but the process is the same. I just logged in, essentially. And you notice that it didn't ask me to log in or sign up. It knows. It does that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, Japanesey breezy. Not sleazy. So I can have a profile and I can have these notebooks. So I have a welcome to observable notebook. This is very, very interesting. It's connecting. This is their demo notebook. Honestly, I am blown away by them putting a demo notebook, because guess what? R Markdown and Jupyter don't do that. They give you Jack. When you install those things, you get Jack. You get nothing. You get whatever is on your system, which is nothing, okay? Which I think is terrible, because it would be cool if they gave you a demo. But they can't give you a demo because it's just not the same setup. It's not the same thing. So there is a huge advantage to this. So our next feature is the code layer that can be executed on the web, and versioning. Those are together. So we need code that can be executed, and we need to be able to also change things. So you can import code once you've kind of added your data to this. So how does that work with adding data? Working with data. So notebooks are great for exploring, visualizing data. So you can load up some data like this, but I think you can also connect things. There is a template R Markdown file available in RStudio when it's finally installed, but it's very simple. Okay, That's cool. I hadn't seen the template yet, but that's good to know as well. That's why you're all here, you see? There are a lot of things that I don't know. And we need the help of the community to figure them out. Okay, we're not there yet. This may take a while. It's a little bit out of sync. It'll catch up. So yeah, this is pretty simple. You import some code and then you have some stuff and you can do whatever you want with this code, right? How does it version the code? It actually versions the entire notebook, which, if you're familiar with other tools like Count, they do something the same or very similar. And forking the notebook allows you to version everything in the notebook, including the code. So it's very, very cool. And you can obviously, in the code, you can change things. So if you do here, if I do short forecast instead, then the table actually updates. Something like that. You can also run these visualize stuff. There's some really cool animations. You can also, it's very flexible. Let's put it that way. So code is a good level in observable. I would say it's a 5. What's missing for me here is SQL. It's that simple. I haven't really seen a way to use SQL here. Now, that's a personal preference, right? I'm a SQL kind of guy. Hence, having a squirrel on stream would actually be pretty funny. But I feel like SQL is a very good language for analytical queries. It doesn't mean that it's better than R or better than Python. It just means that some people who are familiar with SQL, they won't necessarily have to change. They won't have to learn a new language. Now, I don't know, observable, I don't know, maybe it supports. Maybe it supports SQL. Oh, look at that. So it's just SQL to get the data. Ah, but then you can actually, oh wow, look at that. I didn't know this. It looks Python based. I think the underlying code is like Jupyter. This is kind of cool. What if I do, okay, so select name, gender, year, sum, number as CO1. Update. Ooh, yeah, I broke something. It's really cool though. Names, client query. Ah, yeah, so this looks like Python to me. Where you're creating an object which has a query inside it. Yeah, you pass SQL to the database using SDK. It's not native SQL, it's not raw SQL, but you can write your SQL. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I would still give it 5 because I don't think it's very intuitive necessarily for me of how to do the code, but it's close. It's close to being perfect. I think it's nice. Obviously, this ranking is very subjective. I'll just write that in there because someone is gonna say something at some point. So that's cool. So is our markdown installed? Let's take a look. It's not. Okay, it's gonna take a little while. I think the installation is good. It does take a while, which is why it also loses a point, but it's certainly not as complicated as it was with Jupyter Labs. Definitely not. So, how's everyone feeling so far? I mean, we've covered a bit of 3. What we haven't touched is the 4th one yet, Count. Let's take a look at Count. Full disclosure, I have already logged in and played around with it, but I will show you what it is. So basically, count is the same thing as observable in terms of it's a web UI based BI notebook. They even call themselves a BI notebook. Perfect. So you know exactly what it should be. You can basically, this is exactly why I was so interested, is like, instead of working with data grip and your presentation and a spreadsheet and email and everything, the idea is to just have this. You just have count and some communication platform. Could be Slack, could be email, could be whatever. And it's meant to be fast, and it's especially very SQL based, which I, of course, may prefer because I know SQL already. So how is the installation? The installation is, as you saw with did I hit that one fast enough this time? Yeah, probably. As you saw with observable, the installation is, ooh, I don't have that one either, Panther song. Man, how did you get Pretzel to return the current song? I'll probably have to do some funny stuff there, because I don't run a fancy bot like you do. Okay, I'll add it to the list of things to do. Panther, you're giving me so much work. Ugh. Really. So much work. Added a thing to Nightbot. Oh yeah, I don't know if I can do that with a URL to curl from Pretzel. Yeah, I don't know if I can do that with Stream Elements. I have to try. So you log in. Again, it's super simple. Okay, it couldn't be easier. It's a 6. They also get a 6 because they have a demo. Again, there's a demo in there so you can see how easy it is. There's even a interactive tutorial, which I've already done, sort of. You can create a query and build a visual and all that kind of stuff. So that is really, really well done. I really like that. Spotify streaming, a quick exploration. So you can change stuff here. So sum of streams is called sum streams, for example. Update. Oh yeah, order by sum streams. Ta-da! I can do limit 10. I would only have the top 10. There you go. That's it. Super simple, right? And I think in terms of code, it's a bit more intuitive if you already know SQL. Of course, if you're coming from Python or if you're coming from R, then it's not the same. But as I said, this is biased. But I will give it a 5. I feel like they should be rated equally because the code interface is the same. The question is, is R still going? Jesus, man. The question is, how does versioning work? And the versioning works basically the same as observable. When you publish something, you then have a notebook, and then you can, from the published version, fork it, and then merge it back into the main. The one thing that I kind of got confused about is the workflow of a particular workbook. So if I have like a workbook I've been playing around with or something, I would like to see the kind of version history, and I don't know where to do that yet. I haven't found it. So I think there's potential still for that to be updated, but it's already quite good. I mean, it allows you to version the entire thing, right? Which is cool. You can create some new projects. You can also create a connection to your data. Obviously, it won't work with a local Postgres database, which is understandable because it's locally running, which is where the locally running BI notebooks get a bit of an advantage. And they get an advantage here in this D, because you can just use a local data set. You have your data connection, right? Anyway, so our markdown, code layer that could be executed. We cannot do this yet because it's still installing stuff. And my computer is dying, like almost dying from this. It's pretty bad. I can actually stop the preview in OBS to save some RAM. So you probably can't see it, but yeah, we can open Activity Monitor just to give you an idea. That's how long it takes to open Activity Monitor. This is a 64 gig RAM machine. So yeah, you can see the CPU load is pretty high, but it's the memory that's really maxed at the moment. 33, oof, yeah. And it's using quite intensive CPU as well, so. Anyway, not that interesting. What is interesting is this question. So, can I write explanations? And how do I write those explanations? Because this is what I talked about. The bottom layer is code, but you need to be able to explain what's happening in your code. So, how do I explain what's happening in my code? Let's see if we can... how do I go to mine? Notebooks. Let me just create a new notebook here. This is in Markdown. If you're not familiar with Markdown, it's a very, very straightforward language. A lot of tools use it. This is what Markdown looks like. If you have a hash like that, it does a big title. If you have 2 hashes, it does a smaller title. If you do 3 hashes, it does a smaller title. It's very intuitive once you've kind of learned the basic commands of Markdown. And you see here this history thing. It actually has a full history log of what's happened, which I find very, very cool. I really think that's quite a nice feature, because it's showing you all the different changes that have been made in the document, which honestly, I think that is very important. So the semantic explanations here, they can happen in whatever thing you want. You can write like a bullet list. This is a bullet, and this is a bullet. 2. And when I play that, oh, I have to set it as MD, right? MD. Need to use backticks. Something like this. Yeah. And that's it. You just kind of prefix what you're writing. So it is fairly intuitive. I would maybe like to have a native formatting thing, but I guess it makes sense if they don't know what code you want to write. So this is very easy. What about count? What if I want to, I don't know, do something in here? Let's do edit. Oh, it's already in edit mode. Okay, so here I see this little A and B. These are like titles of each thing. So this is a title or something like that. And you can see here, these are like the cells. So the structure is quite similar. They're very intuitive.
Nice.
Thank you, White Panther. Very appreciated. Fun. So if you have here, this is also a title. I don't know which one shows up exactly, in which place. You hate that sound, but you can't stop. So it's a good sound then, if it keeps you donating bits. And here you can write whatever you want. So I can write text here too.
Nice.
Now, how do I format this as Markdown? I have to tell it that it's Markdown. Probably similar with... how do we add text? No need to add Markdown cells. Click to add rich text above or below any cell. Oh, I can just add text here. Ah, you don't even need to put it in a cell. Ooh, okay. And there's native formatting in here too. Ah. Okay. So it's not as flexible as Markdown, but it has the basics there. Space, medium header, ordered lists, strike through, even code if you want to write some code that doesn't do anything, and links obviously. So that's cool. I quite like that. I think that's interesting. Okay. So far, in terms of semantic, I would say observable gets really good marks. I would say count is a little bit more restrictive. It's not full-fledged. Like, you can't do any kind of text. You know, you can't change like font kerning and stuff like that, or put your own font in there, but I don't think that's necessarily super important. Okay. Has R finished installing R Markdown? Oh, I think we are complete. And the stream is back to normal levels. Perfect. So it has now installed R Markdown. What's the next step? If I want to generate PDFs, I don't care. So now what? So R Markdown is installed. What's the next step? We have to figure out how to actually create an R Markdown notebook. Toe, welcome to the stream. Sorry for being late. That's totally fine. Sorry, hydration is important. So we are doing some interesting stuff with BI notebooks today, Toe. I don't know if it's interesting for you. Jordan says, now click the little icon under the red close icon in the top left and choose new R Markdown file. Here we go. Or read the docs. No. Jordan, you need to understand, we don't read documentation on this stream. Default output format, HTML. I don't care about PDF for the moment. Title, BI notebook test. Okay. Nice. Okay. So what we have here is a standard R environment. My company is all about BI dashboards right now. Jupyter notebooks are fun, but not to install, that's for sure. It was a huge pain in the tuchus to install those. So we have an R Markdown. That was easy. So we have a title, we have an output. So R setup, blah, blah, blah. R Markdown. This is an R Markdown document. R Markdown is a simple formatting syntax for authoring, blah, blah, blah. For more details on R Markdown, when you click the knit button, a document will be generated that includes both content as well as the output. Where's the knit button? This one. So if we knit that, save file, test. Now click knit at the top for magic. Okay, let's put it in our desktop. Now let's put it in downloads. It's fine. Yes, I give you access. So we go to downloads. Test.R Markdown. Ooh, yeah, here it is. Test.html. And it's opened it already. That is super cool. Okay, Jordan. It's cool. Definitely. It's pretty epic. That was definitely a better experience than Jupyter. From a subjective, my individual standpoint, that was a better experience. Now, in terms of the code layer that can be executed and versioning, how does R handle versioning? Basically, when you save versions of the RMD file, so R markdown versioning. Okay. Must include versioning. Hugo support with the versioning system. That's probably the versioning. Ah, here. There's even a little best practices thing. Let's see what other people say. I like to integrate my code chunks with my write-up. Blah, blah, blah. Versioning. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. What would people's suggestions be? I mean, Toe and Jordan, you guys use R Markdown, or at least Toe use Jupyter. How do you version these files? They just version as a whole. So RStudio can connect to Git, so the RMD can be checked into any Git repo. Well, I mean, you can also just have the Git repo and just, you know, run the commands, right? So for example, here, BI Notebook, I can put this RMD into that directory. Where did we put that? So if we have that, let me just close this for a sec. What if I just quit RStudio for a sec? So if I move this, let's call this BI Notebook. So open with RStudio. Honestly, it's pretty simple. Yes. Give you access. So far I like this. I think it gets good marks. I think it's a bit more intuitive than Jupyter. Also because the output, you can control the output a little bit easier. File deleted. Yeah, I want to close that. Okay. So this is fun because we can connect to local databases using R. We can also just import a data set from, I don't know, Excel. Can't you just import a CSV? Oh. No, wait a second. Can you not just import a CSV? There should be an easy way to do this. See, I can't really test Jupyter because I can't write Python, but I can write a little bit of R already. I'll need packages to do so. So you see, this is where things get a bit finicky, right? I mean, how does this work in a web environment? Yes, I cannot access my data locally. Oh, is it from text? Okay. From text base. Persican, welcome as well. Because I have some stuff. 1 second. I don't want you all to see the secret stuff. Panther with the bit. Thank you so much for that. Where is this? Ah, yeah, here it is. Someone got pixels. CSV is a text file. Yes, it is, Jordan. Thank you. Let's import the Pokemon. Someone had a couple channel points to burn. I love Epic Sax Guy. I wasn't allowed to write Epic Sax Guy because it got flagged. These are... No. That was expensive. Yes, it was. But it shows that you watch a lot of my stream. This... Oh no, let's do this one. Where is it? This one? No. 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 Really? Did I not save the... okay, wait. That's too big. 700 megs? Ah, whatever, let's just do it. Okay, so... I can type it in chat. Epic Sax Guy. Yes, I can. Yeah, it got flagged on sound alerts or whatever it is. Okay, so we have all these recipes. I'll just import. Can I limit? Ah, whatever. Do the whole thing. What do I care? So now I have everything in this CSV. I haven't done a lot of R stuff in working with a CSV because DataCamp always gives you the stuff. So, okay. I would have to do some... Where would I get the data from? So I have recipes. It's now in recipes, so we do summary. Oh, let's take out cars. I hate cars. Recipes. Run. Current chunk is Shift Command Enter. Shift Command Enter. I've used R in the past, but it's been a while. Is this a chunk? It is a chunk, right? What's happening here? Is it just slow? Oh my god. Do I not see like progress apart from here? Oh, there we go. Topfrog, I've been described as a chunk before. In Swiss German, we refer to people who are quite bulky, like, you know, muscular, as Koste, which basically means like a kitchen cupboard, you know, like a wardrobe. Ah, yeah, okay, so it's very slow. Okay, cool. So it already ran some stats on our thing here. So this is pretty straightforward, right? Because you can use all of your R commands, right? You can say like min, we can write a variable. We can call the variable like min cook time. And we do the min of the cook time. Where is it? How would we access this? Cook time. Can we access the variable like that? Will it know? Does it know? Do you have reader installed or data table? I haven't installed anything yet, Persican. I'm quite a newbie to R. So I don't want to do the summary anymore. Command enter runs a single line. Okay. That's fine. And now we have min cook time. NA. Yeah, because some of them are crappy formatted. We'd have to like filter out NAs and all this kind of complicated stuff. Command enter runs a single line, command shift enter runs the whole chunk. A chunk is within the triple backticks. Yeah, I mean, the R boys come out obviously once we start doing R stuff, but this was just to show you that you can do whatever you want in here as well. And that gives us full flexibility, which means we can also explain everything. The question is, how is R with formatting? Because now there's like these text blocks here. So R Markdown supports standard Markdown. So if I would write something like, outside the chunks, you can write completely normal Markdown. This is Markdown. So I'm gonna save this BI notebook, and now I'm gonna, where did that thing go? There it is, knit. Knit this. Oh, it didn't like this. Object recipes not found in calls. Oh dear. Where is that? Oh, I'd have to include the data set and stuff. Yeah, okay. It's fine, it's fine. Yeah, it's no problem. I don't have to do it right now. But basically, knitting it creates this HTML file, which we see here. But base read CSV and R is slow. Yeah, I would have to install a data table, as you said, Persican. I think that would be the better option. Yep. So, perfect. R Markdown files have to be idempotent, so everything needs to be contained in the single file. Yeah. So, this is with Jupyter, Jordan, it's the same problem. The connection to the data, this is where visualizations with live updates from the code, this is where it becomes a bit problematic. I would rank this in the sharing permissions and not the visualization part. So R gets good marks here in terms of semantic explanations. It uses standard Markdown. You can do whatever you like. I would say R as a software, the GUI or GUI or graphical user interface is, yeah, it could be more modern. I mean, it uses a bit of RAM and stuff like that, but overall it works, right? It's a good interface. So I won't give it full marks there. I don't know, Jupyter doesn't really deserve full marks in this context either, right? I don't think that the perfect one doesn't exist, right? Let's put it that way. Apart from the onboarding process of the web-based tools, obviously significantly easier. R Markdown, visualizations with live updates. Yeah, so this live updates, okay. If I have something here, it live updates. If I have something here, it live updates. But the difference is that, so I can do all these visualizations in R. The thing is, I would actually rate these as a 4. Because the flexibility of the visualizations is there. But in contrast to something like observable or count, the visualizations in observable, at least, you also need to know a lot of code. Sorry, I'm just going to close this, we don't need it. You also need to know a lot of code, but count is a little bit easier because you don't need to know the code for the visualizations as much, if that makes sense. So for example, I have like playing around, and if I want to add a visual, how did I do this last time? That's a table. If I go to visual, I can create, yeah, exactly, create a visual. So this is really drag and drop. And obviously it doesn't make sense with this. Let's do Let's go back to a different one, like Spotify streaming. So if I go edit, am I already in it? Yeah, I'm already in edit mode. Let's switch to editor mode. I'm already in editor mode? Oh, yeah. So I can go edit visual. And you see here, I can actually change everything I want. I have all of these things and I don't have to actually program it. Drill Sergeant Hartman need to leave now. Interesting stuff you're doing. We'll visit your channel again. I wish a great evening to you and to all of your viewers. Thank you, Peter. It was great seeing you in chat. Thanks for the great feedback. Really appreciate that. So you can see here that actually this is just bar, but I could change this to circle, for example. And I can create layers and all this kind of stuff. And I don't have to know how to code for that. Okay? And that's why for me, count gets a higher score than the others. Is it perfect? No, because it doesn't have the full-fledged 100% ability of something like Tableau. But here's the cool thing. Okay? Why is Tableau not in this list? There's a very simple reason. If you're not familiar with Tableau, it's like one of the big boys, right? Tableau is not in this list because it doesn't have this feature. Feature C. Semantic explanations, so markdown formatting, as long as I want without restrictions. The restriction in Tableau is it's basically just tabs. So you don't have like long form explanation possibilities. It's not a notebook. It's a dashboarding tool. That's why I don't think it's a BI notebook. That's why it's not classified that way. And that's why it's not in this showdown today. Much like Looker is not, like Data Studio is not, like all the other dashboarding tools that are out there. They are not in today's showdown. Okay, we can add a row on the bottom. So we're gonna go here for total. And then we'll do below, we'll do percentage of max, something like that. So we could also do an average, maybe. Because we're, we are like analysts, right? So what is left? E, sharing permissions. Well, how does our Markdown get shared with others? You send the notebook to someone, they open it in RStudio. Of course it's quite good because the dataset's already in there, but what happens with large datasets? I don't know. Where do you... The file becomes massive, right? Depends on the data set is accessed. So is it possible, for example, to connect R to a remote Postgres? Connect RStudio to remote Postgres. So if I had a Postgres database, I just run the ODBC driver. You could bundle everything in a Git repo and get them to download it. Or if the data is remote, like a data warehouse, then the code can just access that from wherever. Okay, so you have an ODBC package, and I could just put in the credentials of my Postgres. This is cool. Very nice. Parameterized queries. Okay. Seems easy enough. The issue with observable is I actually don't know how to get data in here. I actually have no idea. So I can upload files, but okay, so there's, how do I actually get data in here? Let's check out the tutorials. Getting data into a notebook. I don't want a video. I hope it's not a video. Okay, there is a video, but okay. Connecting to databases. Published 19th of November 2020. Okay. Observable database clients allow secure and convenient querying of SQL from private notebooks. Okay, so you can edit a database connection as part of it. Okay, so it's similar, yeah. Go to Databases tab in Settings. Okay. Obviously, you can't do that with a local one, but any kind of host, and you can have all that kind of stuff in there. Database client, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then you have, oh, this is what we were in before. Yeah. That's cool. That's quite cool, yeah. So you just insert the code. Okay, it's a little bit more complicated. How does it work with count? Well, let's check it out. Fresh notebook. How would I get data into here? I have all these tables, which is from all of the data that I have, I assume. Let's go back out here. Yeah, demo connection. So I have a demo project and I can just create a new project, which will give me a new data connection. Ah, there's a BigQuery connection. Count public data. I could just add a connection here. Ah, okay, so BigQuery, Microsoft SQL, MySQL, Postgres, Redshift. Can I use my, it won't work with the local one, I'm sure. Okay, so that's pretty legit. Okay, so it means that these are kind of on feature parity. In terms of sharing though, there's a bit of a difference. Because RStudio with its versioning, much like Jupyter, for me is like a 4. You can package everything together and there are less dependencies, but it's still fairly complex for a non-technical person to open this and understand what you did. And this is coming back to the mission vision that we talked about in the beginning. This has to allow anyone working with data to easily communicate results of analysis work, even allowing viewers to interact if necessary. And I think that's the problem with something like RStudio. We can't expect someone to have that installed. Yes, you can export it as an HTML file or as a PDF, but then it's not interactable anymore. So you kind of have these, you have both sides of the coin. And I think with the web-based tools, because of the very nature of the fact that it's web-based, I think they score higher for me. They have better features in that sense, because the magic of RMD is that the output of a knitted file can be hosted, and in HTML output you can make it interactive. Okay, so you could host the HTML on a server and then auto-populate it and then have like sliders and things like that. But you'd still have to set up the HTML output for that server in the first place, right? It's not all here in a kind of SaaS solution available to you already. You'd have to actually set that up with, you know, your IT teams or whatever, or some external company would have to help you get that running, basically. I mean, it's obviously very straightforward. It's just an HTML file. You can upload it to any simple FTP server, but then you need to regulate permissions and access and all that stuff yourself, right? And I'm saying that these solutions, they offer those solutions. Of course, this is like publishing a Power BI notebook with a data connector that is active. If you want the data to be live and actively update when the notebook is accessed. Exactly. It's a little bit similar to Tableau as well, with a live data connection versus an extract. And that's kind of the fun thing, is that these SaaS tools also have a downside. And the downside here, I don't know how much I should score for the downside, but essentially you're bound to also their licensing. So for example, if someone doesn't have an account with Observable, I don't know if they're able to access it. From what I've seen, you can just have a public, you can make it public or private, and private within your organization, and someone can have an account within your organization. With Count, I know viewing is free. That was something they changed recently. Jordan says, but surely that is the same for every option. Someone is going to need to know some sort of coding in order to build any output, even Observable and Count. Yes, they will, but the hurdle to that in these two solutions, I think, is smaller. I'm not discarding the importance of coding. Not at all. I think coding is a very important skill. That's why I learned SQL and why I'm learning R. I just think in terms of it being generic enough to be a really good solution to fulfill all of these things. Because I can do all of my work in DataGrip, like all of my queries in SQL, but where am I writing my semantic explanations? Where am I writing the full story of why I'm processing the data that way, why I wrote the code that way? Toefrog, if you create your own portal where the BI notebook is embedded, you have to be careful with the software's terms and conditions. Yes. Tableau has also their thing about embedding and stuff like that. You have to take an embedding license. So it becomes a bit complicated. Again, this is like a very subjective ranking and it's not meant to be conclusive in any way. But it would just be interesting here to see, okay, so we've got 7, 5 is 12, 16, 19 points. Here we got 10, 15, 19, 23. Here we have 11, 16, 20, 25. And here we have 6, 5 is 11, 15.
They're great!
That noob. 3 months? Make that a formula, Maddie. Oh. Can I even do formulas in Google? I don't think so. I don't think you can do it in Google Docs. That noob, thank you very much for the 3-month resub. That's really cool. Has it already been 3 months that I'm affiliate? That's pretty crazy. Thank you very much. That noob is here, and please do show some appreciation for this super hard-working streamer. I mean, creating software is hard, and Noob has been doing this meme box solution for a long time. Episode 95. I mean, this is like dedication, man. I really admire that. So I cannot make formulas. I don't think I can do formulas here. Jordan says it's interesting who you think your target set of users are. Non-technical business users, technically proficient analysts, data teams to create and share with business users. These are important to consider. Yes. Which is why I wrote here very subjective. At the moment, I would classify the basic target of this type of thing as being a generic analyst with some programming knowledge, I would say. So sort of in the middle of what you described, Jordan. Too many hours, noob? Yeah, I can imagine. So many hours of work. But look, I mean, the fruits of your labor, right? That's the thing. It's just satisfying to have something at the end, isn't it? So, okay, so percentage of max. Max points are 6 times 5 is 30. So we got 19 out of 30. We've got 63%. 23 out of 30 is 77%. 25 out of 30 is 83%. Now, what was the average? Can we do this in here? I think we can do this. 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 divided by 6. Oh no, 5 categories. 3.8. I know I should have made it a formula and someone is yelling at me. Yep, Pilprog, you may be able to do something like sum in there, but that's just me being picky. 5, 5, 5, 4, 4 is 4.6. So 3 5s, a 4, and a 6. Could just do it this way. It's an average score of 5. And 6, 5, 4, it's the same. They're just differently distributed. Yeah. So, I did not yell, not at all. That's true, there were no caps. It's true. But you know, someone like internally yelling, you know what I mean? So, I don't care about this. I don't need to save this stuff. I was just playing around with the BI notebook stuff. So listen, what are my conclusions? My conclusions are the following. I think we should change. I think my conclusions are the following. First of all, I think there's lag again in the stream. Oh, there's a tiny bit of lag actually. Let's see if we can improve the lag. Let's close that. And that. That didn't work. Let's close that. Okay, that's better. What are my conclusions? My conclusions are that, Jordan, your point was very good. You said you need to understand who the target audience is. Like, who is in mind when we're ranking these things? And you're right, it is different for each target audience. It's not the same thing if you have someone like myself who can program JavaScript, CSS, HTML, SQL, R, hopefully soon. It's not the same thing as having a junior analyst just starting out trying to sharpen their analytical skills with a data set and not understanding SQL or R or whatever, for example, who doesn't have a technical background. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, is I think it needs to be right for the organization. So I feel very strongly about software. No, I feel very strongly about data being democratized. I feel very strongly about that. I think I mentioned this last stream on Friday. I feel very strongly about how data should be available to all, right? But it's so hard because there's so many kind of intricacies of analyzing data and figuring out how to portray it and analyze it and kind of understand the intricacies of it. You know, about understanding data collection and how that data came to be in the first place. And I think that's a real challenge. And so this camera's out of focus. I really hope that if someone takes away something from today, it is the following: that there are different solutions on the market in terms of BI notebooks. Some of those solutions, in my eye, don't stack up to modern demands anymore. For me, Jupyter Notebooks are not a viable option. They were lowest ranked in the list. I'm still sharp, thanks Noob, appreciate it. Jupyter Labs were lowest ranked, in my opinion, because they don't have that inherent ability to be shared easily in the organization. And I think that's a problem. That's a hurdle. Like, it's not simple enough for someone to have an interactable. Maybe I'm understanding it incorrectly. Maybe it is possible, but from what I've seen, it's not possible to have an interactive chart output to HTML in a very super straightforward way that people can use, because otherwise everyone would be doing that instead of creating custom HTML data products, right? They wouldn't need to go and create some fancy dashboard. They could just use Jupyter for that. The reality is that you can't make a super nice React front end with Jupyter in it. Like, that's not the tech stack. And I have clear opinions about data stacks, but that's a different topic. So for me, Jupyter is like, it's been around for a very long time, and it's open source, which I think is great. And there's a lot of things going for it. But at the same time, it's so hard to imagine a world where you're an organization and you don't have necessarily only technical people in your org. You have people who are working with data from the business side as well. And they're just not going to be the people picking up something like Jupyter Notebook to analyze data and create charts and then take it to an analyst and say, hey, let's walk through this together. You know, does this make sense for you? They're just not going to be doing that. And so that's why for me, it doesn't make sense. R Markdown, I think the hurdle is much smaller. Let's be honest, Python is, I think, more difficult to learn than R. I think R shares a lot of semantic similarities to something like SQL. A lot of you might disagree with me on that one. But I think learning R or learning SQL are both viable paths. I think Python tends to be the route for people who need to kind of manipulate data themselves and get it from systems and things like that. And R and SQL are more for people who need to just work with data that they have already. That's what I think. So it's time. If you've been here before, now that I've ranted enough, it's time to end things. And on this stream, to end things, we say thank you. I say thank you to everyone who is here and contributing and listening and hopefully learning. I say thank you to Stream Elements for hopefully, yes, there we go. I say thank you to everyone for their contributions in chat. Yeah, sorry, Noob. It's a bit of a shorter one today, actually. That's true. Under the 2-hour mark, you're right, yeah. Sorry about that, but thank you, Noob, for your subscription for 3 months. Very, very appreciated. Joel, Balloon Toaster, Jeff, Robes, Gullaby, Sta9192, Drill Sergeant Hartman, and CHDXT. Thank you very much for your follows. Thank you, White Panther and Jibbo and the anonymous people or person for the bits. It's very appreciated as well. First time I caught the stream end live. Jay Walter, yeah, probably actually. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate Luz for the raid. It was very, very cool. I hope you all had a great time today. There will be no stream on Friday, unfortunately, but we will be back again next Monday, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan. And now we will go ahead and raid someone. So I hope you all have a wonderful evening or morning or afternoon. Gullaby, I discovered you through White Panther. That is fantastic. White Panther is amazing and deserves also discoverability. So we are going to go and find someone to raid. Let's go take a look at who is around right now. We may see some friends that are doing cool things. How do people feel about going to a stream that is learning based? Or how do people feel about going to a stream that is pure gaming fun? What do people feel? What's chat feeling? What are you feeling, chat? Let me know. I think we could go to... yes, we could. We could definitely do this. Have to double check that the person is actually online, not offline. Right, White Panther? Yes, we have selected a raid channel. We will be saying hello to Melkida. If you don't know Melky, then I advise you to stay on board. It's going to be a lot of fun. Wish you all a pleasant evening and see you next time.